1 Kings chapter number 21. 1 Kings chapter number 21 in the Bible. Good to see you in church today. Appreciate you being in the Lord's house. All right. Appreciate you being in the Lord's house today. I was preaching last Sunday night. Preached last Sunday night about three things that do not change. How many of y'all remember that? Those three things that do not change. Number one was God's ability to save or deliver. It came out of Isaiah chapter 59, verse 1 and 2. Was God's ability to deliver. I said He would deliver us from danger, and He would deliver us from damnation. And then I also said that another thing was God's ability to hear. The Bible says there His ear is not heavy, His hand's not shortened, He cannot save, or cannot hear. And the third thing I mentioned was, verse number 2 said, your iniquities have separated you from me. The third thing I mentioned was sin's ability to destroy. If you remember that, say amen for it. I preached on that. And in the process of preaching on that, I made some statements about the man Naboth. I made some statements about the man Naboth. And I never could get away from that thought. As my week went on, I continued to think about Mr. Naboth. And so I wrote some thoughts down. I thought I'd share with you today. Today's Father's Day. I thought it would be an appropriate time. I just want to read one verse in 1 Kings 21, verse number 3. The Bible said, Naboth said unto Ahab, for God the Lord forbid me, that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee. The Bible said there, and Naboth said unto Ahab, the Lord forbid me, that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee. Father in heaven, we love you. Thank you for your goodness. Pray help us now. In Jesus' name we ask it. Amen. Now, in the Bible, there are days, Father's Day. I said some things about that a moment ago. But in the Bible, there are a lot of men that don't take up a lot of space. There are a lot of men in the Bible that their story is there, their account of their life is there, but it doesn't take up a lot of space. You could almost call those men maybe unsung heroes. Maybe men that their contribution was large, although their place on the page is not as large. I thought about some of those men. I thought about men like Uriah the Hittite. The Bible said about Uriah the Hittite that, well, let me just say it like this to tie it down. He had more character than King David did. When he came home, David tried to woo him into going down to his wife to cover David's sin. But Uriah slept at the king's door. I thought about men like Samuel's daddy. Men like that, you know, he was his name was Elkanah, and he had two wives, and Hannah didn't have any children. And then God gave Hannah Samuel, and he said, we're going down to the temple and worship again. And he didn't forbade her. He said, whatever the Lord's put on your heart, that's what you need to do. This man made a big influence. Man made a large influence right there. Then I thought about other men in the New Testament, like Luke, the physician. Now, oftentimes, if you start talking about the disciples of Christ and things like that, people will confuse Luke as a disciple. But you know, Luke was not a disciple. He was a physician. He was a doctor. And if you study your Bible, you'll know that he wrote two books of the Bible. He wrote the book of Luke and he wrote the book of Acts. You'll find that to be true. But Luke was a faithful man. As a matter of fact, most of the time in the book of Acts, where you find Paul in prison, his name is not even mentioned, but he's there. Now that passage of scripture that we sing about, we preach about, over there in Acts chapter 27, where they were on the boat in the storm, Luke was on that boat with them. So Luke there, a faithful man, but not a lot said about his exploits. We could go on, we could talk about Apollos. We could talk about the man Apollos. Not a lot said about Apollos in the Bible, but he made a great impact. Then there's a couple in the Bible by the name of Aquila and Priscilla that did great things for God. So I think you're right. I think Naboth kind of falls in that category. Had it not been for this incident in the life of Naboth there in 1 Kings 21, I doubt his name would be recorded at all. I doubt we would find anything in the book or anything in the Bible about this man Naboth had this event not happened in his life. But this event speaks volumes to us. Now, as we look at that, there are a lot of things we could draw from the passage here to point out to you today. Let me give you some. We could talk about the character of Naboth. When we say the character of Naboth, we can talk about the fact of a man that was able to stand up to the king of the nation. Matter of fact, in your text, the Bible said, verse number 5, it said, Naboth said unto Ahab. Now, Ahab was the king. And Naboth said to him, no, I'm not willing to give you my vineyard. I'm not willing to sell that to you. I'm not willing to trade you. Can I say it like this? His character was one that, and I've said this before, but was unwilling to trade on the altar of the temporal what was of eternal value. What a man of character. I think you and I, not only as fathers, not only as men, but you and I as Christians should strive to have that kind of character. And not want to give up what will last forever, or what will last just for a few moments. We could also talk about this as you read the passage. I didn't read it all this morning. But as you read the passage, we can talk about, now listen to this, we can talk about the cronyism that Naboth faced. Now when Ahab couldn't get him, you know the story. How many of you know the story? Say amen. Do I need to tell the story? If you know the story, say amen. When Ahab could not get the vineyard of Naboth, he went home and cried, and his wife wrote letters, and the elders did what she said, and the sons of Belial did what they were set out to do. The whole world seemed to be set against this man, Naboth. I would say to you today that we live in a world where the mob seems to be ruling everything. And I told my Sunday school class this morning, our lesson was about discipleship today in Sunday school. And one of the things I pointed out to them, or the lesson pointed out to them, was that in this life, as Christians, we're going to face criticism. If you know that to be true, say amen. We're going to face. So, we could talk about that. We could talk about the courage this man displayed. Notice in our text again, and Naboth said to Ahab, the Lord forbid me. In other words, he said no to the king. Now he said, no, sir. Now I'm sure Ahab would have said to Naboth, I need you to help me plow my field. And Naboth, I need you to stand guard. I'm sure he'd have said, yeah. But it took some courage to say no to the king. But Naboth did that. So there are a lot of things that we could talk about that. You know, we could talk about that in this. But what I want to talk about today, however, is simply the choice that he made. I'd like to look at verse number 3. And Naboth said to Ahab, the Lord forbid me that I should give the inheritance of my father unto thee. In other words, Ahab comes up to Naboth and he says, Naboth, I sure would like that vineyard. And you read the Bible, you'll find this to be true. He said, I'm willing to pay you for it. And now this is a little bit of kinesiology here. But to me, he's saying, what's your price? Well, how much do you think it's worth? I'll pay you that. Or if you want to stay in the vineyard business, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you a better one for it. And Naboth says, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to give you this vineyard. Now, he made a choice. He made it right then. If I'm right, say amen. He made a choice. And what I like to do is I like to peel back a little bit on that choice. I will use a proper or a popular term. I like to drill down on that choice just a little bit. Now this passage is chock full of choices. I'll say to you, Ahab chose not to take it. He allowed lust to consume him. He allowed, now you would say, well, really what Ahab did that? Well, now, when Jezebel got it, Ahab did not rebuke her for it. Matter of fact, he got up, went down there and took it. Ahab made a choice to steal. I wrote this down here. Jezebel made a choice to kill. You'll read the text, we'll not take time to do it, but basically she writes letters and says, I want you to kill Naboth. That's a choice on her part. she chose to kill. Now, if you read on, you'll find that the leaders, they do exactly what Jezebel says do. They make this feast. They set Naboth up, and they begin to do what she said. They made a choice to go along with it. And if you read on, you'll find out that their sons of Belial made a choice to lie and stone this innocent man. This chapter is full of choices. But what I want to look at today is Naboth's choice. Now I would say to you, I want you to say amen if you agree with this, life is full of choices. We're seeing some choices today. We're seeing some people make wise choices. We're seeing some people make foolish choices. You're going to make choices today. You'll choose right now whether you listen or whether you don't. You'll choose right now whether you respond or whether you don't. Let's drill down a little bit on his choice. Number one, I want to say to you very simply, his choice appears to be very foolish. On the surface, when you look at the choice that this man makes, it appears to me, and it appeared no doubt to those that were being observant to what was going on. Maybe the newsman, have you heard that here in Samaria that Naboth was offered a better vineyard for that little vineyard he's got? Naboth was offered money, he named the price, offered money for that vineyard, and Naboth said no. Undoubtedly, his choice seemed foolish. Who in the world would think, number one, that he would say no to the king, number two, that he would say no to the money, number three, that he would say no to something that was better? Notice in your Bible, verse number 2, Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for God to earn, because it is near to my house, and I will give thee for it a better vineyard, or better vineyard down here, or if it seem good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money. I tell you what, I'll give you something better. I'll give you all the money you think it's worth. Naboth said no. That seems a little foolish, doesn't it? I think about Brother Lewis Phillips. Brother Lewis said more than one time, he said, everything I got except my wife and my son is for sale. He had an old pickup. It looked like it was about a 1944, but it was in the 70s, I think. He said, I forget the price. It was somewhere up there in the thousands. You remember Brother Timmy, 15 or 20,000? You remember Brother Melvin? He said, you can get that truck for $15,000. Now, Brother Lewis was a wise man, but you'd been foolish to give him that money for that truck. But he had a price tag on it. I would imagine that when people heard that Naboth said no, they thought, what a fool he was. But you know, when you begin to think about that, the fact of the matter, he refused an offer, man, would have been unreasonable and foolish, anybody looking at it. But they'd have thought, isn't he aware of who's asking him? Isn't he aware of what he could gain? He could get money, get a better vineyard. It may have seemed foolish or short-sighted, but Naboth realized some things are worth more than money. Can I get a witness right there? Now, could I draw that to you and say to you, my friend, people look at us and say, the choices that crowd's making is very foolish. Going to church every time the doors are open. Man, that's foolish. Don't they know that they could sleep in? Now, some folks don't realize people come to church and still sleep in. But don't they realize they could sleep in on Sunday? Don't they realize they deserve a day to themselves? How I'm sure your neighbors and my neighbors over the years have thought how foolish it is, that crowd to go to church. How foolish it is to give their money 10% and better to the church house. How foolish that is. They could have a new boat with that. They could have a new car with that. They could get a new suit of clothes with that. How foolish that is. People say, the way that crowd down there dresses, the way that crowd down there does and doesn't do things, the places they refuse to go, things they refuse to get involved in, the choices they're making are foolish choices. Now, the reason they see it that way is because they don't know what we know. Can I get a witness right there? It may seem foolish to them, but it seems pretty good to you and I. Do you believe I'm telling the truth? Amen. Number two, could I say, I don't have the three today now. Number two, could I say this, and I really want to drill down on this here. What caused this man to make his choice? What is the foundation behind his choice? I told my daddy this morning, he asked me what I was going to preach, and I told him, and he said, are you going to relate that to the current events? I said, I'm going to do my best not to. So let me fail in that right here, okay? Let me fail in that and say to you, as we're watching today, as we're watching things go on today, as Siri is shouting me up here, as we're watching things go on today, my friend, I begin to wonder, why are people doing what they're doing? Have you thought that? Nobody's thought that but me. I look at people and I think to myself, now, why would they march down the street? Why would they pull a statue down? Why would they say such, let me be kind here, well, I'm not sure I can. Why would they say such idiotic, unlearned things? Well, why would Naboth make such a choice? Well, let's look at it for a minute, if I could. Number one, can I say that Naboth, I believe, made this choice because what he chose to retain and not to sell, what he chose not to trade, what he chose not to give up, had been given to him by divine decree. The thing that Naboth, now Ahab had it all. Ahab, in fact, Jezebel herself says, Jezebel says herself, are you not the ruler of the whole kingdom? Naboth himself says, I'll give you a better vineyard than the one you've got. Has it ever dawned on you that Naboth was being offered something better than what he had, but Ahab was willing to give up something better than what he was getting? Can I say to you, Naboth understood what he had, small as it may be, as insignificant as it may seem, as foolish as it may have been thought of, there was a value in it because of where it came from. Because who gave it to him? He said, preacher, why do we hold the Bible so precious? You know, there are those that say, matter of fact, I was in the bookstore just this week. I was in the Christian bookstore buying some of the things that will be in the bags for the men. And I always, if it's going to have a verse on it, I always check it. I always check it. Make sure it's not NIV. Make sure it's not ASBB. Make sure it's not HIV. Amen. Always check it. Make sure it's King James. Had to hunt for one of those Bibles. Say, preacher, why? Or why? You know, we can get a nicer one, get a more accepted one. Preacher, why not get rid of the hymnals and put screens on the wall? Preacher, why not trade those in? I'll tell you why. Because of where we got it from. It's precious because of who gave it to us. Now, if you'll go to the book, you don't have to, I've got it written down here, but if you'll go to the book of Leviticus, chapter number 25, verse 23, you'll find the Bible says the land shall not be sold forever. You'll go to Numbers chapter 36, verse 7, so shall not the inheritance of the children of Israel be removed from tribe to tribe. In other words, God had said, do not trade it, do not sell it. I'm giving it to you. I would imagine that Naboth remembered there was a time when my people were slaves. I would imagine Naboth remembered there was a time when they were down in Egypt and God got them out. And you know what God said to him? He said, I'm going to give you a land that you have not labored for. You'll sit in houses that you did not build, sleep in beds that you did not buy, eat from vineyards that you did not plant. So the foundation of his choice was given to him by divine decree. Why is that church so precious to you? Who gave it to us? Number two, could I say this to you? I believe we can find this right in the text. Look in the Bible. When Naboth said, the Lord forbid me that I should give thee the inheritance, so look at it with me, of my fathers. You'd say, preacher, why in the world did Naboth make such a choice? Don't you realize, preacher, everybody's looking for a deal. Don't you realize, preacher, Naboth could have got a better vineyard. Don't you realize, preacher, Naboth could have got money and got out of the vineyard business. Naboth realized not only who gave it to him, but Naboth realized who had maintained that vineyard. Notice he said the inheritance of my fathers. Now this is a little bit of kinesiology right here, but I imagine Naboth's daddy had tended that same vineyard that Naboth was tending. I imagine that Naboth's great-granddaddy tended that same vineyard that Naboth was tending. And I imagine he's saying in his heart, boy, that's a good offer. Man, I'm telling you what, it wasn't close to his house because Ahab says, I want it. And notice Ahab saw no value in it. He was going to tear up the vineyard. He was going to make it a garden of herbs. And he said, I'm really interested in a vineyard. I want a garden of herbs because it's near to my house. It was more convenient for Ahab than it was for Naboth. Naboth could have said, I tell you what, I don't have to get up early and go to that vineyard anymore. I can get something close to the house. It'd be more convenient. It'd be more advantageous for me. I think I get out of this thing. Then he remembered his daddy planted in that vineyard. His granddaddy planted in that vineyard. You say, preacher, why in the world are you listening now? Should we stick with the old time ways? Friend, there's been a crowd that's come before us. We would, and again, I'm trying not to get into all this, but we've seen our national forefathers disgraced in the last few days. And I watched it, and I'm trying not to get into this, but I watched yesterday as they pulled down the statue of Francis Scott Key. I watched as they pulled down the statue of George Washington. I watched as they pulled down. Now get this, you want to talk about dumb. I didn't mean to say it like that, I'm sorry. You want to talk about idiocy. They pulled down the statue of Abraham Lincoln. How foolish is that? They want to sell it. Oh, John, don't get into it. Hold back, cowboy. No, let's go. Can I say to you today that they celebrated Friday, Juneteenth? Do you know who Juneteenth was made possible by? Abraham Lincoln. And then pulling down the statues. My friend, we do not. Are you listening now? We do not. I preached a lesson a few weeks ago. Need to throw out with the baby with the bathwater this thing about what was being given to us. I'm not even talking about nationally. I'm talking about right here. We will be desecrating. Are you listening? If you and I give up the things that God has given us, if we trade our Bible in, if we stop living right, if we stop dressing right, if we stop reading, if we stop coming, if we stop praying, if we start praising, if we give up the things that God has given us, we'll be desecrating the history of all those that came before us. Excuse me for a second. Amen, preacher! You're exactly right. Don't make me have to start pointing to my Sunday school class. Amen. Can I say to you today, he realized it had been maintained by his fathers. I'll give you another one. If you want it, say amen. He also realized the possibility of his children. Now, this is a little more kinesiology right here, but I'll tell you what, I believe when he killed him, they wiped out his whole crowd. He wanted to make sure Ahab could get that vineyard. You say, preacher, what are you saying? I believe when Naboth said, now maybe for just a moment, and a little bit more my thought, maybe for just a moment he paused to that. You know, to make a choice, you got to weigh both sides out, right? Maybe for just a moment he thought, won't have to get up early no more. Maybe for just a moment he thought, I'll double the asking price. Maybe for just a moment he thought, I've seen that big vineyard down the road that Ahab owns. Man, I could have the biggest one in town. Maybe for just a moment he paused in his mind and thought, I could do better. Then he realized, Daddy worked in this vineyard. Then he realized, God said don't sell it. But then he also realized, I want my children to work in this vineyard. I want my grandchildren to work in this vineyard. Now I'm going to give you a little bit more kinesiology right here. Are you ready? This is totally, I ain't read this nowhere. I ain't heard nobody else say this, so it's probably wrong. But I believe in the millennial reign, Naboth's family will get that vineyard again. You say, preacher, what are you saying? I believe Naboth thought one day when young was working. One day, as I followed my daddy around, my children have followed me around, and my grandchildren will follow my children around. Now, it wasn't what it was when his granddaddy had it. And it wasn't what it was when his daddy had it. Because maybe when his granddaddy had it, David was on the throne. Maybe when his daddy had it, Solomon was on the throne. Now Ahab's on the throne. And it ain't what it was. But there's a possibility that God can breathe again. There's a possibility that God can move again. And Naboth said, I'm not selling the vineyard because of what could happen. You say, preacher, why do we keep coming to church? There's a possibility. I have seen people walk down the aisle and get saved. It's been a while. If you're here today and you're not saved, why not today? Why not today? I have seen people get right with God. I have seen the Lord move in the service. Have you seen that? You know what? I've seen it here. I've seen it here. I'd like to see that again, wouldn't you? You know what? I think what we should do is just keep a vineyard. Can I get a witness right there? Thirdly, we'll go to the house or the restaurant or 7-Eleven, gets 2 hot dogs, wherever you're headed today. Not only is there the foolishness of his choice, not only is there the foundation of his choice, but as with all choice, there's the fallout of his choice. Now, here's the thing. There was a reaction, or better yet, let me say this. There was a response to Naboth's choice. Now, you said, what was that response? You got to keep it vineyard. I'll tell you, there was a response. When Naboth said to Ahab, the Lord forbid me. He said, the Lord forbid me. I should give unto you the inheritance of my fathers. When he said that, there's a fallout to that choice. I'm going to say to you, especially young people today, you need to choose to serve God. Everybody over the age of 15 should say amen right there. You young people need to choose to serve God. You need to let God choose you. You need to let God choose for you who you marry. I'm telling you now, you listen to it. So, friends, you ought not meddle right there. You're probably right. So let me say it again. You ought to let the Lord choose for you who you marry. I promise you, He'll never give you the wrong one. You believe that? You young people need to let the Lord choose your career for you. Not only you young people, all of us do. Ain't no need to preach to the young ones. You know, we want to be hypocritical. I do. We want to be hypocritical. We want the young people to serve God. We want the young people to be faithful to God. Well, it's kind of hard to do that or say that when we ourselves don't do that. Are you listening to me? Look up here. There's a fallout. Number one, the fallout was Ahab could not leave it alone. Ahab could not take no for an answer. He goes, now you may say that he did take no for an answer because he went home and laid down on his bed and cried like a little girl. But here's my contention. Here's my thought. That's what he did. You read that in the Bible, did you not? He wouldn't eat. I'm not going to eat nothing. And he cried. I think Ahab knew that the big boss was going to step in. Now, who was the big boss? Jezebel, with her spirit of rebellion. Jezebel steps in. Ahab refused to take no for an answer. Now, you listen to me. You listen to me. When we choose to do right, the devil will not take that for an answer. You say, well, I'm not going to get involved in that. He'll put it in your pathway every time you turn around. Can I say to you? I wrote this down. You need to listen to this now. There's no. Are you listening? Say amen. There's no amount of compromise. There's no amount of compromise that will bring the devil to a place of contentment. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I tell you what we'll do. Now listen, we'll make the devil happy. We'll make the world happy. We'll make the flesh happy. Let's throw them three in as well. There's no amount of compromise. We'll make the world, the flesh, or the devil happy. Then we'll make the world happy. Make the flesh happy. Make the devil happy. What we'll do is we'll just ease up a little bit here. I promise you, if you ease up a little bit here, you'll ease up a little more tomorrow, and a little more next week, and a little more next. Am I telling the truth? Say amen. No, so number one, Ahab, the fallout was Ahab will tell you. Number two, can I say this? The wicked got stirred up. Notice in your Bible, in verse number 6, he said to her, because I speak of Naboth, Jezreel, and he said, give me the vineyard, money, or else I'll give thee a better vineyard if it please thee. And he went out, give me his vineyard. Jezebel his wife said, dost thou not govern the kingdom of Israel? Rise, eat bread, let thy heart be merry. I will give thee. And she said, I'll give it. Is that how you read it? It wasn't her. You know what? When you make a choice to stay with God, you're going to stir up the wicked. I mean, I remember Brother Jack Wood saying this, some things are better left untouched. I said this to you the other day. I think it was here I said this. I said this the other day. A bulldog, did I say this the other day? I said this the other day, didn't I? A bulldog can whip a skunk, but it ain't worth the fight. Did I say? I think I said that here at the church. Can I tell you, my friend, when you begin to choose to do right, you're going to stir up the devil. Thirdly, can I say this to you? It cost him everything. Now, I ain't going to take time to read it to you, but you know what they do? You know what they did? You know what they did to Naboth? They lied on him. They set him up in the feast, and they said, Naboth doth blaspheme God. He didn't do that. They were get this. You need to put this down if you don't get nothing else. They will accuse you of doing exactly what they do. They'll say you did this when really and truly they're the ones that done it. Naboth, they took him out, they stoned him. It cost him everything. Lastly, we're done. We made him an example. We're preaching today, so 3,500 years later, about a man named Naboth. We're celebrating. Can I say to you on this Father's Day, Daddy, Mama, young person, unsung hero in the Bible, this man Naboth refused to give up what God had given him. Let's stand together, heads bowed and eyes closed. Brother Wade, if you'll go cut that CD off for me. Father in heaven, we love you and thank you for your goodness to us and blessings on us. Lord, I pray, Lord, that you help us to have the guts and the gall of this man Naboth that we read about in the Scripture. Pray, Lord, that you help us, Lord, to be unwilling to bend, move, compromise, Lord, give into the world, flesh, and the devil. Thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to be in church today. Thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to pray and preach. In Jesus' name we ask you. Amen.